Hello, I'm ISBA President Paula Holderman. Today I have the great pleasure of welcoming Laurel Bellows to our studio. Laurel is immediate past president of the American Bar Association and founding partner of Bellows Law Group, PC. In the first part of a two-part series, I asked Laurel to discuss the importance of court funding. Laurel, thanks so much for being here with us today. During the partial government shutdown that we had in September and October of this year, I heard people who were actually more concerned about national parks closing than they were about our court system. Can you comment on that?
I will comment on it, Paula, but before that I'd like to compliment you on a spectacular year as president of the Illinois State Bar Association, and particularly segueing back to this subject for calling the continued attention of the public and lawyers to the problem that we face in Illinois and everywhere in our country, state and federal. The fact is that our courts are closing, that if our courts close, we have no justice in this country. If we have no justice in the country, we don't have a country that we recognize. And no one other than you and a number of other bar leaders around the country and many, many judges who understand the importance of this issue are coming forward to state that if the citizens of this country do not use their vote to inform their state legislatures who are responsible for funding their state justice system, that they will give up parks in order to be able to enter the courthouse and have access to justice. We will lose the system that we are so lucky to have.
And have you seen during the partial shutdown and the continued sequestration, have you seen specific effects that this has had on our court system?
Absolutely. We can look at it from the physical and we can look at it from the talent side. All right. First, physical. There are state courts in this country, and well, first let's start with the state courts. There are state courts in this country that close on Friday, every Friday. There are state courts in this country who are not trying any civil cases for a year. That means no divorce cases. It means if you have a contract dispute and you want to get paid or you want to resolve it so you can go forward and perform the contract, you do not get a hearing. It means that if you have an employment dispute, you don't have a hearing. These are basic cases where the disputes have to be resolved so that we can do business in this country. This is very serious stuff. Lawyers around in some states have to bring pencils and paper and carbon paper to their courts because their courts can't afford to provide them.
Now, you've mentioned state courts. Are there also effects on the federal courts?
Absolutely. We're talking about how do state courts get funded? State legislatures that are starving the state courts in favor of other priorities. And then we're talking about federal funding, the federal sequestration we heard a lot about. Right? It's not just the sequestration, it is the lack of prioritizing justice over some of the other issues. Paula, we know we have to feed people. We know we have to pay for medical care. We know we want to educate our children and we have to protect our population. But there is lots and lots of discretionary spending that could save our courts. And here in this district, as you well know, because Judge Holderman was chief of the court system here in our district, in the Northern District of Illinois, at the time of sequestration. He had to go to the Supreme Court and speak to Justice Roberts about his fear that he might have to close our federal court here in this county, right here in our Northern District. Close it 1 day a week. And that is not simply close the courts and access to the citizens, but what about all the court employees who have pensions and jobs and wouldn't be able to feed their families? This is not something that we are making up or a problem we're creating. This is the very basis for justice that's at risk in this country. And our state system has to fund, and our federal legislature has to fund our courts, or our third branch of government will be starved and it will disappear.
So what can we, as lawyers and judges and citizens, what can we do to talk to our legislators, either at the state or the federal level, and to give them a better understanding of what the effects are?
It's simple. Sometimes the simplest action, is something that we hesitate to do. Every lawyer should bring some non-lawyer constituent to see their state representative in our state legislature and their state senators.
A good idea. My sincere thanks to Laurel Bellows for being here today to share her view about the importance of adequate court funding. Check back soon when I talk with Laurel Bellows about gender equity in the legal profession. I'm Paula Holderman. Thanks for watching.